Hello everyone, and welcome back to Silicon Sounds, audio for the rest of us. Today, things are coming fast and fierce at Silicon Sounds. I just wanted to take the time out to thank all those who've taken the time to watch my videos, and even more so those who actually have subscribed. This is a labor of love for me. I do this on my own time. I am a member of a small but dedicated group of music lovers, the Canuck Audioholics review group. It's the Canuck Audioholics Anonymous Review Group. That's the actual full name. A small group of Canadian-based reviewers who really love the music. In fact, our mantra is, it's all about the music. Gear is secondary, but we love the gear as well. Today, I have the pleasure of reviewing something from a company called ISN. ISN may not be well known by some. I know they've been associated with the Penon online store, if you're familiar with that. They're also available on various outlets, on AliExpress and whatnot. This is a company that has been quietly putting out some quality gear for some time. They have reasonably extensive product line that features IEMs, earbuds, and even cables. This is a $630 EBC80. Now, I know in the last video I had problems with some focusing. Maybe if I leave it close enough, long enough, it can focus. This is the EBC80. So again, $630 USD. But regarding price, it does stand fairly, not the top, but close to the top of their present line of offerings. This is not a new release, being out for close to a year now, but it's still absolutely relevant because good sound does not spoil, especially when considering the sonics that it puts forward. The driver complement consists of an 8-driver hybrid setup with 2 Sonion ESTs for the ultra-high frequencies. Give you a little bit closer. I hope this really focuses so you can see inside. It's really packed in there. Kudos to the IEM manufacturers and people with good eyesight and steady hands. Once again, 8-driver setup per side, 2 Sonion ESTs for ultra-high frequencies, 1 Knowles balanced armature for high frequencies, an additional a single Sonion BA for the mid-range, 2 8mm liquid silicone dynamic drivers for the low end, and 2 Sonion bone conductor drivers. ISN likes to call this setup a Quadbrid, and I guess they are right if taken at face value. So let's give the marketing department a +1 on that. Very nice looking IEM, by the way. All right, ISN reminds me a lot of BGVP in that they're more than happy to reveal the manufacturers of their internal components, although they don't go into as much detail as BGVP does in describing the internal shell structure and also paying as much attention. That being said, it's all about the sound in the end. The interesting thing about this IEM, and others I guess depending on the outlet it comes from, including Penon, is that at the time of purchase, buyers can also select from 3 cable options when purchasing the EBC80, and the IEM will include one of the 3, whichever you happen to choose. The options are as follows. Now follow me here. There's the C2, the H2, and the S2 cable options, and they base the choices on sound. Now for those people who don't believe cables have sound, this is how it is, okay? And this is how the real retailer wants to set it out there. And to be quite honest, to a great extent, I kind of agree with them. So we have the C2 cable, 72 cores, 6N OCC wires. This cable is focusing on excellent bass, warm details, and natural and full mid-range. We move up to the H2 cable. It's a middle choice between the C2 and the S2 cable, which I'll discuss in a minute, combining half of the characteristics of both. The S2 cable now, again, 72 cores. They're all 72 core 6N OCC. Some are silver plated and some are hybrid. They said that this has the clearest sound quality when I'm talking about the S2 cable, suitable for users who pay attention to details and use warmer sound sources. Take it for what it is. I, for one, am very interested in this kind of thing. I don't believe that audio at all is just about measurements. That's just me. That's for another conversation. And the sound is really what matters. And no matter how you get there, it's okay, as long as you get there. So we will continue. It's interesting to say the least, offering cables based on sound at the time of purchase. I can say that the one I had was of very good quality, and I'll show you it in a minute. Regarding tuning, the EBC80 offers a fun, quote-unquote fun, doesn't mean it's not good, but engaging tuning with some sub-bass emphasis and good treble energy when required. I would describe it as a moderate U-shaped sound signature with great accuracy and musicality. Listening to the hyper-technical BGVP Solomon, which I just finished listening to prior to the EBC80, the EBC80 from ISN proved to be a less analytical but just as engaging experience. Now, I'm going to say that and people think that this is not an analytical set. It is. It's detailed, it's resolving. But the BGVP Solomon is so over the top when it comes to resolving and analytical that I just had to make that comparison. And I'll talk a little bit more about them comparatively later. Fairly easy to drive. The EBC80 can reach good volume levels with most gear, but this is not an excuse to go the low road, folks. This IEM thrives on more capable and resolving sources. Tip selection is going to be critical here. It is a chunky IEM. See the size of it? It's a little on the chunky side. I will show you it compared to my usual show, which is the Eroso from Kiwi Airs, which some people think is large. It's a dwarf compared to the EBC80. If you see that, it's no comparison. So it is a chunky. I would call it on the larger side of medium. I've had IEMs bigger than that. So you're going to need to choose tips correctly that will allow a decent insertion and a solid seal. So let's go quickly over the specs. EBC80, 2 ESTs, 2 balanced armatures, 2 dynamic drivers, and 2 bone conductors. So a quad attack of double drivers. 2 Sonion electrostatic driver for the ultra high, 1 Knowles balance armature for the high frequency, 1 Sonion balance armature for middle frequency, 2 8mm liquid silicone dynamic drivers for low frequency, and I'm not sure if you can see it. I'm really hoping it focuses, folks. I'm going to try my best. They look like they're horizontally opposed. Take it for what it is. It is what it is. Color is blue with black shell, nicely adorned. Impedance is 13 ohms, not as low as the 7-point-something ohms from the Solomon, but lower than average. Frequency range is 5 Hz to 40 kHz. Sensitivity is 106 dB. It comes with a 2-pin. You can see it right here. A 2-pin. I'm hoping you can focus. A 2-pin setup. Looks like a port for the bass drivers right there as well. The cable is 3-in-1 detachable gold-plated. So it comes with both 4.4 millimeter and also the comes with 3.5 millimeter single-ended. So I'm going to show you the cable now because it's a good-looking IEM. But let's talk about a little bit about its accessories. Now I have to tell you that I did not receive the full retail package. I've heard about it. Nothing to write home about. But the quality of the included components is good. So here we have the interesting. We have a 2.5 millimeter balanced, 3.5 millimeter single-ended, and 4.4 millimeter balanced. Very unusual to find these days I call it convertible cable, detachable with 2.5 millimeter or any IEM shipping with that form factor. That's what I got. Again, I'm not sure if that's standard. I received this from a friend or part of our review group, so it may or may not be standard. Now, this is going to look like a lot of cable because in effect, it's actually 2 of the standard cables, so you can choose. I'm not sure which one this is. It does have some interesting branding on it. And that's one of the cables you can get from ISN. You see the branding right there. Hopefully you can see it. Really nice, but these are two cables, so that's why it looks as such. And if I can get to the pins, you can see right here for attaching the ends. So that's the cable. Cable is nice, good haptics. Not the best haptics in terms of cables I've had, like the Solomon's cables were a little nicer to handle, but these cables look like they're the business. And remember, this IEM retails for half the cost of the Solomon. Half. So let's move on to the sound, because that's really where the tires hit the road. Bass. And move these back in. Oh, I should show you the case. Can you say basic? Very basic case. I wish it was a little bit nicer. That being said, when you put the IEMs in here with a nice quality cable, it is a tight fit. I know that they do have another ISN case that's larger, but it is what it is. Let's continue. Bass goes deep with pleasing authority. There have been some mentions of the deepest sub-bass roll-off. It's not something I would be worried too much about. I didn't really hear that much in the kind of genres of music I listen to. I do listen to house music, and I listen, of course, to drum and bass. So I did not feel like I was missing anything in that regard. The bass has excellent and pleasing authority. Both sub-bass and mid-bass have a dense, rich punchiness to them. Something that was missing on a number of IEMs I've listened to recently, except for the Solomon. That's a different animal. This bass has thickness, has drive, has punch. Really incredible to listen to. Bass has ample rumble when called for. Mid-bass has great speed and snap, nicely articulate as well. I was listening to Angel by Massive Attack, and the bass in that was just, wow, it was just really there and present. Yet, as it tailored off, you can easily discern the texture in that bass line. So bass texturing and detail are quite good. The bass presence is wonderful and refined at the same time. Sometimes, or quite often, you get one measure of one and half of another because there's a balance. ISN has managed to give you the rich, thick quality bass here, but still with a great smattering, in fact, quite a large quantity of refinement. Mid-range, lush with great clarity and transparency. Detail retrieval is ample with both macro and micro details clearly present. Again, it's not the technical monster of the Solomon, but the Solomon is an outlier. Let's just leave it like that. Lower mid-range warmth is noted, in particular for male vocals. Female vocals are clear and expressive with good weight. And that's something that I really loved about the EBC80. Timbre and balance is great. Pin and gain elevation is there. It is well managed and does not exhibit any harshness whatsoever. Note weight and density are pleasing, and that's a nice way to put it. That's a little too understated. Note weight on this is more than pleasing, made me smile. Note weight is one of those things, and density of the notes that really draws me into the music. When you still have that clarity, you still have that resolving nature, yet it has weight behind it. Really well done on the EBC80. In fact, fantastically done. Layering and separation, also notable. Busiest tracks, Beautiful Lie by Vic Lavender. Definitely can hear each instrument in its own place. Really well done. Spacious mid-range presentation. Transits have rapid attack and natural decay while still having that weight. There's no overhang. Sometimes, quite often, you find that there is a loss of resolution when adding all that note weight. Well, the EBC80 has none of that compromise. Easily relay the emotions of a vocalist performance. This is where it separates a little bit from the Solomon. The Solomon is very hyper-technical, while this leans, the EBC80 leans a little bit more towards the organic, yet still retaining a good smattering of being technical. Organic delivery with natural instruments and vocals noted. Treble. Treble is well extended. Well, you got EST drivers in there. I hope it's well extended. Treble has substantial presence without splashiness. So when I mean substantial, I don't mean it's in your face. If it's in the track, you're going to hear treble, okay? It's not a muted or darker treble. It's a lively treble. Detail retrieval is notable in a treble as well. Pleasing quantities of sparkle and air. I would say the Solomon has greater sparkle and air, but these are not lacking by any measure in terms of the pleasing sound and sonics when respect to that metric. Treble follows the mid-range with the lush and clean delivery. Treble harmonic sounds natural and unrestrained. Those cymbal clashes that go on, the shimmer, it goes on and it fades naturally. It doesn't sound truncated because the treble falls off a cliff or it just not delicate enough. This really relays that. So let's put in a nutshell what it is about the sound. The ISN EBC80 is a wonderful sounding IEM. ISN has achieved an outstanding balance between being technical and yet still musical. The EBC80 is one of the rare IEMs that I easily got lost in the music while listening to. That says a lot, and it's been rare lately. I'll tell you that much. The bass is satisfying with its juicy yet organic delivery and serves as a solid foundation to the rest of the frequency range. The mid-range has an open and organic sound with wonderful clarity and detail, sounding more musical than clinical. Here, the treble presentation is just the icing on the cake with its extension, openness, and natural clarity. The EBC80 is flexible and sounds great regardless of musical genre. Imaging and soundstage. A larger size soundstage, but instrument placement is very accurate. The imaging is very accurate within that soundstage. What really struck me was the dimensions balance outstandingly, appearing more natural than exaggerated. We're not getting tons of width and moderate height and depth. We're getting a fantastic balance that sounds natural, yet it's expansive sounding. Layering and separation, quality drivers, speed of the drivers, all of that go a long way here. If anything, there has been one or two IEMs that beat this on one metric, and that is the space between notes. I will tell you that the EBC80 does very well on that, but there's a couple that just have this black background that you can discern every time there's a small space between notes. Missing a little bit on the EBC80, but still a wonderful, pleasing, lush, and vibrant, yet thick and juicy presentation. Space around the instruments, clearly defined. Layering and separation are well done. Congestion-free, even on busier tracks. Vocals are distinct and easily placed among the instruments. So vocalist is singing. I was listening to He's a Karaoke, Eden Atwood, and her voice is there and all the instruments are floating around her, either behind her, to the left, to the right, next to her, in space, very well defined. Versus BGVP Solomon. Solomon's a close to $1,300 US IEM. This is $630. But, you know, these days I found that the price really doesn't indicate necessarily the sound quality. That being said, the Solomon is a phenom. I just finished reviewing the Solomon when the EBC80 finally graced my ears. And in a nutshell, these are two outstanding IEMs, but they do approach sound reproduction somewhat differently. The Solomon is more technically inclined than the EBC80, which is a little bit more organic, actually, in terms of its presentation. Let me put it this way. The Solomon dissects the music with a surgeon's precision, while the EBC80 offers a more worldly view of the music, yet each still sounds musical in its own right. Both are fantastic sets, and that's assured. And I will label them both as definite keepers. So let's conclude this review. ISN has brought to the table a fantastic IEM in the EBC80, an IEM that suits my listening preferences quite well. This is an IEM tailor-made for long and satisfying listening sessions. Combine great build quality, attractive looks, and above all else, a rich and satisfying sound. And the ISN EBC80 is a clear winner. This is a winner from ISN. Now it's made me interested in hearing more of their products. I know that there's a couple coming out that are above this. I'm really looking forward to that. That being said, I want to thank you very much for joining me at Silicon Sounds for the latest review of the ISN EBC80. Look forward for more reviews coming up. Really pressed to put some stuff out there. We have a lot of IEMs to look at and gear. One thing about our review group is we do not rush reviews. If you see me release a review 2 in a week or 3 in a week, I've been probably sitting on at least 1 or 2 of those for a week or more. We do enjoy the music more than anything else. And when something like this or the Solomon hits your ears, there's going to be a delay. But you always have something waiting in the wings just to put out there and keep everybody's appetite fed. I want to thank you very much for joining me today for this review. Please like and subscribe. Spread the word about the channel. This is a labor of love. And thank you for joining me again at Silicon Sounds. Audio for the rest of us.